now. So let's.
Does it record our voices too, or just what
It
you do?
it does. No, it records our voices and
Okay.
anything
just,
bad we
just let us know when the on-air light goes on.
it is on. So no more saying anything
Oh.
bad about Noel. Okay. So
Oh, okay.
all right.
All right, so
So
we can begin whenever you're ready.
okay, sounds great. So just so I make sure I show you kind of the right stuff and because I talk to a variety of different clients. A lot of them are more compliance based customers. When I mean compliance based, I mean I'm not normally talking to the programmers and IT folks, which I'm actually happy to do. It's a nice change of pace with you guys. Um, but a lot of times, our discussions are very compliance oriented as opposed to tech. So I'm happy I can accommodate either. But because you guys are coming more from a technology side, do you want to just spend maybe just 30 seconds or a minute or so just kind of explaining like exactly what you're looking for and what you're trying to meet, and so that I make sure I show you, everything that you're looking for meaningfully, and I'm not wasting your time with, compliance or regulatory stuff that maybe isn't important to you.
Um, Based on my understanding, the bank, should the auditors request it, or legal request it, or if anybody requests it, our marketing department needs to have the ability to show what was on our web page at any given time.
Okay.
Now, the big, the big thing there is that could mean two things. I mean, do you really need a snapshot every single day, or do you only need snapshots when there are changes? I think either way is acceptable as long as it's easy to find.
Right.
What did it look like on this day?
Right.
That's truly what they're looking for. So
Okay.
we need it recorded, and we need an easy way that an end user can query for this, meaning they don't need to send in a programming request to find the
Perfect.
information.
All right. So
So
that's a
that, at a high level, is what we're looking for.
great. Okay, no problem. So we actually have two products that do some of the similar things. Okay, so we have the Compliance Watchdog product, which is what I think Noel originally found us for. And that product is really designed to archive, but also puts in a workflow so that someone, every time a change is detected, it can be reviewed and approved or disapproved and all this good stuff, which doesn't sound like the workflow is necessarily what you're looking for. So since speaking with him, we actually developed a new application, which is an upgrade that we call Squatcher. And it does a lot of the same things and some additional things that make it really, make it really easy for your normal non-IT users to come in and find what they're looking for and not have to send a help ticket over to Nani or yourself, Brian, and be able to dig in and see what's going on. So what the system does is when they log in, they see, is my screen showing for you, by the way, the Squatcher screen?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So when they log into the system, they just have a very simple screen here. We've tried to make this as dummy proof as possible. And so,
Yes, nice.
so what they can do is they can just go in and find what they're looking for. So if they want to see, for example, what the site looked like on a given day in question, all they have to do is click on this go back. They click on the day they want to see it from, and I'm monitoring a financial website for somebody else as a demo. But so if I wanted to see, and I've only been monitoring this one for a week or two, but it shows you what dates are available to view. If they want to go back further, they can do so, but they just find the date they're looking for. They click on that date, and it just opens it into a new screen. So you can see that we put this little banner at the top that says you're seeing what their site looked as of December the 10th. And then they can click through, screen print, do whatever they need to do, create PDFs to show this is exactly what our site looked like on this date and time. And this will show even if the site has gone down or gone away or been changed significantly, so on and so forth. So just to give you an idea of what the experience looks like for them. So it's very easy for them to get in and out, find what they're looking for, print it up, and send it over to the regulators. So they can tell the regulators that, yep, we have a third party who's monitoring it. We scan the site every day. If it doesn't change, we don't take a new version, but we do check it every day to verify whether it's changed or not. If every day is too much, we can back off of that, but it seems like most people we talk to every day seems to be just fine for them. So that's how it works as far as them being able to go, basically surf the site as it existed in the past. It's kind of, I don't know if you've ever played back with Wayback Machine, but it's kind of have that similar feel. The only difference between us and the Wayback Machine, quite frankly, is that we're looking at your site every day and you're guaranteed to have it up there.
So, a couple questions I have
Sure.
so far. I'll start with the easier one. Is the archive hosted on-site or off-site?
It is.
Meaning, are you
This is hosted on our side.
okay? And then my other question is, what files are archived? I mean, do you also
Great
do
question.
the PDF files that we link to, or?
Absolutely. So let me now jump back into, let's just go right to our inventory. Okay. And so the inventory shows you exactly what we've got. So in this one, we've got 5 documents, we've got 19 images, any Flash files or pages, JavaScript. So we basically go in and scan the entire site. We pull every resource that makes that site possible so that we can rebuild it for your viewing pleasure. That didn't come
Do
out
you
very
only
well, but
cover resources that are linked to by the website? Well, what about resources that are out there that, um, unless you know the exact path to it, there's no link on the website to go to? Are those skipped or are those included?
those are skipped, but we do have a way of adding those. So if you have like hidden pages, we can add those if there's not a link to them. That's not a problem. Do you guys have like hidden pages where you say go to our site backslash whatever and there's no link to it?
Well, what happens is that marketing conducts certain campaigns
Mm-hmm.
that people can click through to land on the page. It may not be navigable from the site, but it's just
Mm.
purely like an ad page.
Do
So we'd be interested, like we're advertising mortgage rates or something.
right.
So we want them to be able to archive their ad campaign pages.
Are each of those pages unique from a URL point of view?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
So you'd
well,
have to define those separately, right?
we would, and which isn't, I mean, not a problem from us from a billing or a pricing point of view. It's just, the way the crawler works is we have to, the links are the way that we navigate your entire site and figure out what's there. So if a link doesn't exist, it's hard, it's impossible for our crawler to find it. So we've had some clients that have your concerns where um, they list those links in white. You know what I mean? Like they'll put it at the bottom and they'll have the font color white on it so that no human can see it, but the crawlers can, and then they can jump to it. Um, and they'll do creative things like that. Or we have a way that they can be added to the system as well on a manual basis. The problem is if they don't link to each other, there's really no way to you'd have to add them every time you guys did it. Is one of the drawbacks from it. So
Okay.
if you
How, I'm assuming it's easy to add in though. It
yeah
might be
yeah
tedious, but
yeah I
it's
mean
easy,
I
I'm assuming.
it is it's not hard to add those particular resources. Um, the other thing I'm trying to think if there's I'm going to go back to my developer after this and we can just treat this as a follow-up to our call. But let me ask you this, like how often do you guys do that? Like, is it a new one every month or every week or every
I
day?
think it's feast or famine. I mean, we may go
Oh,
a long
really?
time without doing one, then all of a sudden we get 5 of them because we got some campaigns going on. So I mean, it's really feast or famine on that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we have like 20 of them right now. So.
you have 20 of them hanging out there right now?
Um, well, we have different campaigns. In terms of pages,
Mm-hmm.
now that I think about it, we don't have that many, but they have many different campaigns.
And,
I can think of offhand probably less than 5 actual pages.
Well, that's an interesting point you bring up, though, Nani, is
Yeah.
that some of these pages are dynamic, so depending on the when I say query string, do you know what I'm referencing?
Yes, I do.
When they pass parameters via the URL.
Yep.
So depending on the parameters in the query string, that will dictate what we actually present on the page.
Interesting.
So I'm assuming what we would need to do is we would have to add the 20, even though it's really might be 2 pages, because we would have to add it,
Because
the
they have the
URL on your
variations.
system with the different query string parameters.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
What, the other thing that you could do, I mean, I don't mean to present, I know this represents more work for you, and I hate suggesting stuff like that, but one thing that could be done is you could, well, these are not listed on a sitemap, are they? They're not connected there.
I don't think they are right now.
And I'm just curious, if they were added to your sitemap, that could be a way that you could just get around having to do a manual process on this. Or the other
That's
thing is
true.
they could have their own sitemap, and it's really not a sitemap, but what it is some page, or at the bottom of one of these pages, there's a link here that goes to basically your campaign ones, and it's in white so nobody can see it. And then on there you always kept links of all your campaigns. Now I know that provides extra steps for you. I'm just trying to think, one way or another, there's probably extra steps.
Personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal if
Okay.
we add them in separately. In the beginning, it's going to be a big task, but as time goes on, like I said, it's feast or famine, and it's just a step we have to remember to do
Okay.
if we want it recorded. So I don't want to dwell too much on that
Okay.
in our short time that we have
No problem.
today.
What were your other questions you
A
had?
couple other questions that I had were about links to other domains that may exist on our website, and there's 2 types of other domains. We have other domains that are ours,
Mm-hmm.
and we have other domains that are not ours.
Okay.
And so when you are monitoring a domain, does it simply just stop, just the recording once you leave the domain, or does it go one level into the next domain, or how does
Great.
that work?
No problem. So all I did is from the home button, I just clicked on domains. Okay. And
Yeah.
this shows all the domains that are connected to this site. So this one has 26 that we're taking a look at. So we have a couple of different things here. So we have what we call the primary domain, which is the domain that we're monitoring. So this would be your, what is it? First AM Bank. Yep. So I would say your First AM Bank would be your primary. And then let's say you were doing subdomains off of it, which we have financial customers who do this, where they'll do something like financial.firsambank.com. And the system will find it, and you can turn those into a primary or supporting domain, both of which basically then turn monitoring on from there. So if you decide that you want to now monitor those additional domains, you can do that, and it can do it you can decide kind of whether you want it to go deep, or whether you want it to be done weekly, monthly, quarterly, so on and so forth. So when we say enable crawling of deep links, what that means is if I turn this on for FINRA.org, it would start crawling all of FINRA.org if I did deep links. If I did direct links, it would be just that single one that was pointed to. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to make decisions on where you want to go outside of what you'd consider your primary domain.
And how do you license your product? Is it per domains that you're monitoring, or
it's actually based upon the number of resources? So
what's a resource?
What we define as a resource is the number of documents, images, media, pages, style sheets, all those things added together are like the total quote unquote resources that make your website possible. So in this one, there's 94 resources. Some of them are pages, scripts, documents, so on and so forth. So Our license is for 2,500 resources, which seems to be plenty for a lot of organizations. Some need more. But you can do what you want with your 2,500 resources, depending on what your needs are. And typically, most of the resources are taken up by pages. So I don't know
Out
how.
of curiosity, have you determined the number of resources we have on our website?
I haven't, but I can. I'd be happy to. And usually I demo someone's website for them, but just because of time constraints, we weren't able to set that up for you. But I'd be happy to tell you how many resources yours would be.
I think that's something we would like as a follow-up, just to
Okay.
understand where we sit in that 2,500. So, and basically the way I understand it is that if we happen to have a link on our website that takes us to Microsoft.com and we say we want to record that too, you got no problem how many domains we do. It's really the number
Yep. You can
of
make it
these
as
resources.
absolutely. You can make it as big or small as you like. Yep. So you have within that 2,500 resources, you have play to do that. Now, um, if Microsoft calls us and gets mad about us monitoring their site, I'm going to send them to you. But just you
Yeah.
know, just so you're
Well, that
aware.
was an exaggerated example to just make sure I understood the
No
point.
problem.
But yeah,
Well, it's good that we can, if we wanted to, we can monitor subdomains too,
Yes.
like other.
right. We'll want to monitor subdomains, and like if we link out to some kind of a banking website that shows some compliance information, I'm sure we'll want to be at least one level out on that one
Right.
to record what it was at that time.
and you,
Um,
and you can do multiple setups on here as well. So, for example, I have another bank that I work with, and by the way, we work with banks and financial. I mean, that's our primary customer, banks and financial institutions. Just so you're aware. Um, and so what they did is not only are we monitoring their primary site, but we also added their mobile site, and that between the two, that was still below the 2,500 level, and they didn't incur any additional license fee as a result. So for smaller sort of deals like this, then we're happy to accommodate those sorts of things.
so I've got another question here.
Okay.
Going off your, I guess I'll go with the easy question first. What time and can you control it? Does the archiving occur every day?
It happens. It doesn't happen all at the same time. We actually, because we don't want to take your website down by asking for all 3,000 resources at once or whatever the size is, we actually spread those out during the day. So it mimics. It will appear as a bot, just so you're aware. So it shouldn't affect your Google Analytics or whatever you're using when it comes to monitoring hits on your site. um, and so it basically spreads it out over a 24-hour period, if that makes sense. And so we don't really have any control to say, hey, scan this site between this time and this time. It's just it kind of organically spreads itself out, where sometimes it's checking, it'll be checking some of your pages in the morning and some of your pages in the evenings, and so forth.
Okay, well then you kind of touched base on my second question, because my second question was just in reaction to your comment about Microsoft, if they call and
Right.
complain. I'm thinking the only reason why somebody would know or complain is if you're affecting their performance.
Correct. So we can present ourselves in a variety of ways. Are you familiar with like bots and crawlers and all that stuff?
Mhm.
Okay, so we can present ourselves in a variety of user agents. So we can be a bot. We can present ourselves as if we are a Firefox user or Mozilla user. We can, so for the most part, I mean, we've monitored. We have thousands of sites that we're monitoring. I've had one time someone call me and say, "Hey, you're messing up my analytics," and I don't know what the heck they were doing, but that's the only time I've ever had anybody ever even notice us from an analytical point of view. If you go deep into the Apache or things like that, you'll see it there, see the bot calls, but For the most part, no. And if we do start affecting your numbers, we can make adjustments on the user agent, and that should take care of it. But most of the analytics engines are smart enough to realize it's a bot and not up your ticks.
Okay.
So,
And do we have control over that, or do we have to call and open up a case with you guys to switch us between bot or user?
you just call us up. We don't. That's something we can do for you, and we're happy to do it. There's no ticket or
Okay.
anything that needs to be opened.
But as for this website that we see up right now, we're going to have a login and stuff, and we'll be able to configure our own domains and build our
Yeah,
own queries.
yeah, we can typically at Go Live, I'll usually add your site for you, and we'll just keep an eye on it for a couple of days while it's going through and churning, and we check with you to see, hey, are you seeing anything that you don't like on your end that we might need to make an adjustment on when it comes to the user agent. And then we'll go through and train you on it. You can have as many users as you'd like on here as far as the number of people that you want to be able to access this and log in. We can create specific permissions so they can, you might have some people where you can say, look, all you can do is see what it looked like in the past, and this is the only button that shows for them when they log in. So we can give you that sort of level control, and away you go. So the other
Just to
thing,
confirm,
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, I had a quick question. Just to confirm, when you were clicking through your demo site, all the resources associated with the day that you selected are they're all the same, right? So if you go to your site on September 15th, all the resources related to that date you can click to
Yes,
are as of that date, right?
that's correct. So what happens is,
Okay.
I mean, I'll just show you. This is kind of nerdy, but I'm probably talking to the right people. I mean, you're not nerds, but this is so what it does is, just looking in the inventory, we have 53 pages that we're monitoring for this particular site. Now, this site is not versioning a ton, just because it's not a super active site. Some sites are more active than others. So, but let's just take a look here at all the stuff on his primary domain. So you can see here that here's his home page. We give you what we call a crawler history on this, and what this means is that we have a verification that we went out and did our work. So you can see for his
Right,
home
okay.
page, he has one version of it. He has 20 mirrors. Just think of it as a reflection, right? So
Okay.
every day we've gone out and checked this. It's the exact same page with no changes. So we create a mirror, which means that it's just a reflection of version 1. So you can come in here and see which pages have versioned a lot. You can go find a specific version. All
Okay.
those things are in the guts. So hope that's not
Good.
too geeky, but that's kind of where you can go as far as it. You can also, if there are changes between versions and you're comparing versions, it will actually show up in the code highlighted in red and green as far as like the diff goes. So
Oh, wow.
if
Okay.
you want to see diffs and stuff, that's contained in here as well. There's some additional things that are included in this, where if you want to see like errors that are being found on your site, like if you have dead links, those can be detected by the system. We can even send out alerts if you want. If it,
Yeah, that's nice.
a lot of CMS engines are really powerful, but users oftentimes can create dead links and not know they have. So we've got that built into there. We also have activity reports, so you can gauge how active your site is from a change point of view. And
Hmm.
if the system detects that it's changing more than it normally does, it can trigger alerts. A lot of people like that because they worry that
Yeah.
maybe someone's hacked their site, or
Yeah,
uh,
that was my next question.
yeah. So we can track that activity, and you can see, we have one client, they log in every day to this, a bank, and they look at this all the time to make sure that they don't see any changes that they weren't expecting. And
Okay.
it's just a security measure. What doesn't exist on it but is coming probably next quarter is uptime monitoring, which will be included for free as well. So that will
Hmm.
basically just check to see if your site is up, and you guys probably already have something for that or maybe pay for it, but we're adding that as just a nice thing for our customers that are on this. So. Oh, one other thing I definitely wanted to show you is we have recovery processes in here.
I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah. So what that does, there's really two ways that you can do a recovery. I'm just going to switch to a different account here. There's two ways that you can switch from a recovery or use recovery. One, you can go into the inventory and say, yeah, I need to find, a user messed up the page called Contact Us. So I'm going to search for that page. Here it is. And it was working fine up until version, I don't know, 87 or whatever the particular version is that you want to find. So you can find whatever version date you're looking for, select it. You can grab the HTML and then go and rebuild the site if you'd like. Or we have this recovery process where you can say, I need a recovery file for what that site looked like as of November the 5th. It creates it for you. It just takes a few moments for it to run in the background. And then once it's done, it will then allow you to download it, and we'll download it into like a really nice directory format. Now, you can't necessarily just go and shove that into your CMS and all of a sudden your site's back up and running, because you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you had a static website like back in the day, you'd be able to do a full recovery from this, but you have all the files, you have all the images, you have all the docs, you have all the HTML, and you can find the particular pages and rebuild what you need to rebuild.
Yeah.
So
you could probably go back a ways and do some forensics on that.
Exactly. So you have kind of a running backup, but I always tell people that, hey, it's not like you download it, you upload it on your servers, and you have a site running up. I mean, it's you guys understand that. So
yeah, gotcha.
Anyway, but yeah, we that's built into it as well. So anything, I think we've covered just about everything on here, but is there anything that you think should be here that's missing? I'm always looking for new ideas. So
well, you seem to have it covered at the moment. I'm sort of I like the fact that our forms right now are on a different subdomain.
Okay.
So it'll be good to capture, what the forms look like as well.
Not a problem.
That seems like an easy process to do.
Yep. Very easy to add those.
Yeah.
Would you guys like me to plug your site in and take a look at it in a week or two and see how it does on your site before you make any decisions?
I think we would like to. Well, we'd be interested to see how many resources under your system we would be.
Okay.
It would turn out to be.
Okay.
Insofar as cost, estimating the cost.
Sure.
I know that I've talked to other vendors, and our navigation uses different query strings quite a bit. So if you go into an inner page, like you choose a checking account or something, or just click around on these are what we consider main pages. Yeah, just one of these links.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll present with you kind of a left navigation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at some of them, they will have I would say, these are all links to these pages, but if you open up one of these.
Okay. Like just.
They have, I don't see it right there that you're really looking at, but if you click on borrowing from here.
Excuse me. Borrowing, okay.
And you can see that in the URL it has that n equals 107.
Uh-huh.
Well, that n isn't really a page. It's just telling the navigation to do something.
Okay.
But we've had vendors say, well, each of those URLs counts as a different page. And I'm like, well, no. But that's why I'm kind of, you present to us a really different way of pricing, which is based on resources rather than just URLs. So it kind of makes it easier for our site because, We
So what you're saying is, depending when I come on here, it might say N108 or N109
yeah,
or
just yeah, the numbers change. Yeah,
yeah.
for no particular
We
reason. But that's how
can,
they set up.
yeah, I can. We have and do make adjustments all the time to accommodate for stuff. So,
Okay.
because I mean, every website is different. So, what we can do is I like to see how it operates out of the box.
Yeah.
And so, if it's okay with you, I'll add it to our system. It'll scan. Usually, we don't let anybody look at anything, and when I mean anybody, I mean all of us. We let the system kind of churn through it for about 3 days, and then I can get an
Okay.
idea of what's going on, get an idea what our resources look like. So, would you guys? I
Okay.
don't. I don't know what you're doing next week. Everybody I talk to is not working next week, so I always assume that no one is. But if you want to, I'd be happy to review it with you next week, or we can reconvene after the new year, whatever makes sense for you guys. Um,
I'm gonna be around on Monday. I think
okay.
that's it.
Let's see. Let's see if I put this in today, tomorrow, Sunday. Uh, Monday might be tough for me to have this ready for you, but then you're off the rest of the time. How about the 30th,
Let's
the
see. Let me check my
following Monday?
calendar.
Is Brian
Let me
being
see.
really
Oh,
quiet, or do you ditch you?
no, no, actually, okay. So actually, I think I am working the 24th. Um, but on the 30th, I will be out, but on the 31st, I will be in the morning.
Okay, I could probably do
And
morning of
then
31st would probably be fine.
yeah, we can do that.
And if you want, I can just let it run. I can check it out on Monday or Tuesday just to see, and I can maybe drop you a line to see what's happening. Now that I know I'm looking for this n equals 107 sort of a thing, I can tell my
Yeah.
developer, here's what we've got going, and see if it creates a new page every time, and if there's some things that we can do to accommodate that. So
Yeah, I'd
um,
be interested to see how the
would
crawler kind of
what
deals with that.
what sort of, I can't remember if I ever quoted any pricing to Noel, but what sort of pricing are you guys dealing with and looking for, so I can see if we've got a package that would make sense for you.
Well, I guess I don't. I'm kind of wanting to see what people have to say insofar as pricing is concerned.
uh,
I when we were looking before, I wasn't really concentrating on the dollar amounts yet.
mm-hmm.
We were more focused on the features.
Yeah.
And so we were with one of our vendors. We were just surprised at the number of URLs he came up with when they ran their scanner, and uh, and then also we were trying to see what the right fit was. Our site's a little smaller than other institutions, perhaps
Mm-hmm.
medium sized maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're just looking for a pricing structure that fits our organization.
Yeah.
We're a medium-sized bank. We're only in Illinois. We're not like a huge conglomerate.
Right.
So we're looking for something that is priced appropriately.
Okay. So what I typically do is it's typically 199 a month
Okay,
for 2,500 resources. If you go over that, I can probably bump that up without affecting the price.
that's
If
per month.
per month, if you pay an annual subscription, I can dump that down to 2 grand for the year, which I think comes out to one something a month. But
Okay.
most of the banks I talk to would rather just pay the annual fee and not have to put an invoice through every month.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
anyway, so we can do 2 grand and probably cover everything that you want to do for the year. Um,
Okay.
and that's, like I said, that's what we've got. Actually, in your area, we have dozens of banks within the Michigan, Illinois region that we monitor currently with this tool. So
Really? Would it be? Could I be forwarding ask you if you had any particular clients that you monitor?
I could probably give you. Let me think about this. I could
All right.
probably give you
Gotta try.
if you're looking for a reference, I could probably give you the name of their web consultant who brings us the business, that
Okay.
actually does their hosting and all that stuff. I could probably pass you his information if you're looking for a reference
Yeah, I'd
there.
be interested in it. You
Okay,
can just stick it in the email.
sure, I'll do that. So,
Maybe when we get further along with your
do you guys
quote.
have a time frame you're looking for as far as an implementation goes?
I'm hoping to have something rolled out by the end of January,
Okay,
February.
we can certainly help you with that. So, I'm
Okay.
going to go ahead and I'm going to add it to my little demo system, and
Awesome.
I will start sending you some emails next week when I see those sorts of things, and then we can set up a day that we can chat about it further from there.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to have an update then, and then probably I'll reschedule a meeting for a larger group,
Okay,
so we can talk further after the holidays.
that would be great.
Great.
Okay.
All right. So, can you send me in the email also the URL for this recorded meeting?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to go ahead
Yes, you're
and
welcome.
stop it